The heat is cruel, pressing down like punishment. Emily Carter freezes mid-step, a whisper of gravel slipping beneath her sneaker. A red-painted skull sign stares up from the dirt, not 3 feet away. Her breath locks. Even the wind seems afraid to move. Around her, voices dissolve into a blur of panic. Someone shouts, "Don't move," in English, another echoes it in Khmer. The sun drills through her cotton shirt, sweat crawling down her spine. Her baby shifts inside her, a small, urgent flutter that feels like a warning. Emily doesn't dare turn her head, but she senses Noah behind her. Her husband, the man who promised safety, the man who now looks at her like she's an inconvenience. His voice slices through the silence, smooth for the cameras. "It's okay, honey. Hold still. Help's coming." But she hears something else under the performance, something slick and cold. Because he was the one who told her to step left, 2 steps, just for a better shot. Just for a headline that would make him look like a hero at the next Manhattan fundraiser. Her knees tremble. The baby kicks again. Emily swallows a scream. Across the taped boundary, Aiden Cross, tall, calm, his white shirt clinging with dust, reads the terror in her eyes. He's not a soldier, not trained for this, but something in his face hardens. He murmurs to the local team leader, then begins unbuttoning his sleeves, rolling them to the elbow. "What are you doing?" Noah snaps, the mask slipping. "Getting her out," Aiden says, voice steady as stone. Vanak, the Cambodian team leader, yells, "No one move! Zone not clear." But Aiden steps forward anyway, his boots tracing each print left earlier by the sweep team. Emily's throat tightens, the ground hums faintly, every heartbeat a countdown. She wants to say no. She wants to scream, "Don't you dare!" But words die in her mouth. Aiden counts softly, 1 step, breathe. 1 step. Each footfall lands with surgical precision. The air thickens, heavy with dust and fear. A fly buzzes near Emily's ear. She doesn't blink. Her world has narrowed to a circle the size of her shoe. Noah's phone is raised just below chest level, camera light on. Recording. For evidence or for leverage? Emily doesn't know. The realization makes bile rise in her throat. "Don't move your weight forward," Aiden says gently, closing the final few feet between them. "Stay balanced. I'm here." Tears finally break from her lashes, slipping down the dust on her face. He offers his arm, not a hand, but a solid brace. "We'll go back the same way I came, step for step." Emily nods once, afraid any sound will break the world open. Somewhere behind her, Noah whispers to Sloane, the PR woman she once called a friend, "Get the footage. This will play perfectly for the foundation reel." Sloane hesitates, phone trembling. Her eyes meet Emily's for a fraction of a second. Shame flickers, brief but real. The baby kicks hard. Emily tastes blood from biting her lip. She clutches Aiden's forearm. "Ready?" he says quietly. She nods again. He shifts backward, dragging his boot in the dust, leaving a shallow groove, her lifeline. The seconds stretch into an eternity. Sweat blinds her eyes. Then, somewhere far behind them, a controlled detonation thunders. The ground quivers. Emily gasps, instinctively stepping. Aiden grabs her waist, stopping her mid-motion. "Don't!" Silence. Even the birds have vanished. She looks at him, shaking, eyes wide and wild. He holds her gaze, calm but unyielding. "Breathe," he whispers. "I've got you." And for the first time in her life, she believes someone means it. She doesn't know yet, but this moment will burn down her entire marriage. The plane hums above clouds, the color of bone. Emily Carter sits by the window, hands wrapped around a paper cup of ginger tea gone cold. Every time she closes her eyes, she feels dirt shifting under her sneakers, the phantom tremor of danger beneath her feet. The doctor in Phnom Penh said she and the baby were stable, but her nerves have not stopped buzzing since. Across the aisle, Noah reclines, sunglasses on, flipping through a magazine filled with luxury resorts. He looks like a man flying home from vacation, not a man who nearly watched his wife die. "You need to stop thinking about it," he says without looking up. "The footage is incredible. You looked brave. It'll help the foundation." Emily stares at the seatback screen. Her reflection looks foreign, pale, older, cracked down the middle. "Brave," she repeats softly. "I was standing on a mine, Noah." He smirks. "And you lived. That's what matters." Her stomach knots. Across from them, Sloane Pierce scrolls through her phone, pretending not to listen. The faint shimmer of guilt crosses her face, then disappears when Noah's gaze flicks toward her. The unspoken current between them burns hotter than the cabin air. Emily turns back to the window. Aiden Cross is seated several rows ahead, laptop open, typing notes. He's calm, methodical, unaffected by turbulence. The man who walked into hell for her now seems far away. Too grounded, too real for the world she's trapped in. She watches him close the screen, stretch his shoulders, and glance back briefly. Their eyes meet. He nods once. Nothing romantic, just acknowledgement between survivors. It's enough to keep her breathing. When they land at JFK, the terminal glitters with advertisements for Tiffany and Cartier, the symbols of a world Emily no longer belongs to. Reporters are waiting. Noah's doing. He strides through arrivals, one hand on her back, guiding her like a prop. Cameras flash. Miracle in Cambodia, someone calls out. Emily lowers her head, dizzy from noise and lights. Noah answers questions with perfect control. My wife is recovering beautifully. We're just grateful to the foundation. He says, we, like it's a brand, not a marriage. Aiden passes quietly, refusing interviews. One journalist shoves a microphone toward Emily. What went through your mind, Mrs. Whitmore, when you realized you were standing on a mine? Emily opens her mouth, but Noah cuts in. She doesn't need to relive it. Let's give her privacy. He pulls her toward a waiting Mercedes. The door closes with a soft click, sealing her silence. Inside, Manhattan rises in silver and shadow. The city looks unchanged, but Emily feels like a ghost passing through glass. They love you, Noah says. Sympathy plays well. You'll see the press tomorrow. I'm not doing interviews. You will, he says simply, scrolling through his phone. It's good for us. For us. Emily presses a hand to her belly. The baby kicks once, sharp, a sign of life or protest. When they reach their penthouse, everything gleams. Marble floors, mirrored walls, orchids under perfect light. But the space feels sterile, like a stage set waiting for actors. Noah tosses his jacket on a cream sofa and pours scotch. We should celebrate, he says. Emily walks to the window. The skyline blazes, Fifth Avenue like a jeweled river. Somewhere down there, people are living honestly, laughing, eating street food under neon. She envies them. Behind her, Noah adds, next week we'll meet the investors. Try to smile, okay? She turns, voice steady but low. Did you push me, Noah? His hand stops midair, glass half raised. For a heartbeat, silence. Then the faintest smile. Don't be dramatic. You slipped. Her vision tunnels. I didn't slip. He sets the glass down, walks closer, lowering his tone. You're emotional. You need rest. Emily steps back, shaking. He touches her arm, a gentle touch that feels like ownership. Rest, he repeats, and don't ruin what we built. She looks at him, really looks, and finally sees the stranger she married. Outside, lightning flashes against the skyline, and for the first time, she knows the storm is just beginning. The morning after the interviews, Manhattan is washed in rain. Emily stands barefoot on the marble kitchen floor, at a mug of untouched coffee cooling in her hands. Her body aches, not from the flight, but from the tension that lives under her skin. On the counter sits Noah's MacBook Pro, open to a slideshow labeled Cross Whitmore Initiative, Heroism in Action. Her name is on every slide, her face, pale and frightened, frozen mid-frame from the Minefield footage. The tagline, Courage Under Fire. Emily scrolls through, numb. In one image, Aiden Cross stands in the background, half-cropped, eyes fixed on her. The caption below reads, Foundation CEO assists couple in moment of crisis. Couple. As if she and Noah are still one thing. As if what happened was some staged campaign, not her near death. The sound of the elevator breaks her trance. Noah steps in, crisp suit, silver cufflinks glinting like blades. You're up early, he says, pouring espresso. Good, we have a meeting at 10 with the PR board. I'm not going, Emily says quietly. He looks over the cup. You are. No, he chuckles, amused. You think silence helps? Sympathy fades fast. You need to control the narrative. She sets the mug down too hard, it splashes across the marble. You almost killed me, Noah. He doesn't flinch. Don't say that again. I will. Noah leans close, voice sharp but soft enough to sound reasonable. You tripped. Everyone saw it. Aiden stepped in, made it look heroic. You're lucky the cameras rolled, or no one would have cared. Emily's throat burns. You pushed me. He stares, expression unreadable. Prove it. The two words hit harder than any slap. When Noah leaves for his meeting, she sits on the sofa, shaking. The city hums below, indifferent. She opens her laptop, searching news articles about the trip. Every headline praises Noah's calm under pressure. The footage shows him reaching out, face full of concern. The moment before the shove, gone, cropped, or lost. Her phone buzzes. Unknown number. A message. This shouldn't have happened. We need to talk. S. Sloan. Emily's pulse jumps. She types, where? The River Cafe, 8 p.m. No cameras. By evening, the rain has stopped, leaving the city slick and reflective. Emily arrives wearing a gray coat that hides the curve of her belly. Sloan waits at a corner table overlooking the Brooklyn Bridge, a glass of white wine untouched before her. You look okay, Sloan says, eyes darting. I didn't think you'd come. Why did you text me? Sloan exhales, twisting the stem of her glass. Because I filmed too much. There's footage Noah doesn't know I still have. It shows his hand on your back. Just for a second, but… Emily grips the table edge. You kept it? I didn't mean to. I was told to delete everything, but I froze. Where is it? On a drive at my office. I can get it tomorrow. Emily's voice shakes. Then do it. Sloan looks down. He's dangerous, Emily. He has investors who don't care about lines being crossed. You're safer staying quiet. Emily stands, trembling but resolute. Silence almost got me killed. I'm done being safe. She leaves before Sloan can answer. Outside, the wind from the East River cuts cold through her coat, but she barely feels it. Across the bridge, the lights of Manhattan pulse like a living thing. She takes out her phone, scrolling to Aiden's number. She saved it under emergency. Her thumb hovers, then presses call. When he answers, his voice is steady as always. Emily? I have proof, she says. Not yet, but I will. A pause. Then we'll protect it, whatever it takes. The words land like shelter after a storm. Emily looks out over the water, her reflection trembling in the dark surface. Somewhere beneath it, something new is forming. Not fear but resolve. And in that moment she knows, the minefield wasn't left behind. It's right here in this city, wearing suits and perfect smiles. The next morning, Manhattan glitters like glass after rain. Too clean, too deceptive. Emily wakes to silence. Noah's side of the bed is cold, the sheets pulled tight like he was never there. She sits up slowly, one hand instinctively resting over her belly. The baby stirs. Life, fragile but fierce. Her phone buzzes. From Sloan, 9 to 3 a.m. Got the drive. Meet me tonight. Don't tell anyone. Emily exhales shakily, clutching the phone. Proof. Real proof. She dresses simply. Black jeans, long sweater, sneakers that still carry dust from Cambodia. When she steps into the kitchen, Noah is waiting, leaning against the counter in his navy suit, scrolling his iPhone. His Rolex catches the morning light, flashing like a warning. Morning, he says smoothly. You're up early. Couldn't sleep. He glances at her phone. You've been busy, though. Who's texting? Just a friend. Which friend? She meets his eyes. One you don't own. His jaw tightens. You're acting strange lately. People are starting to notice. The board's nervous. They think you might say something reckless. Reckless? Emily repeats, heart hammering. Like standing on a landmine for a press photo? Noah's expression doesn't change, but his voice sharpens. Watch your tone. She steps closer, voice low but steady. What happens if I don't? For a moment they stand inches apart, marriage turned battlefield. Then Noah smiles too softly. You should rest. I have a call with Singapore. We'll talk later. When he leaves, the door's soft click sounds like a threat. By sunset, Emily's nerves are frayed thin. She keeps checking the clock, counting minutes until she meets Sloan. She packs a small tote, her passport, the Mont Blanc pen, prenatal vitamins, a USB backup of her medical report, everything she'd need if she had to disappear. The phone rings once. Unknown number. She answers. A male voice. Mrs. Whitmore, this is security at your husband's office. Mr. Whitmore requested we escort you to him. Emily freezes. Why? He said it's urgent. Her pulse spikes. Tell him I'm busy. She ends the call. Within seconds another buzz. Text from Sloan. He knows. Don't come here. Someone followed me. Drives hidden at 53rd and Lex Locker number 17. Get it now. Emily grabs her coat and rushes out. The subway air is thick, metallic. She keeps her head down, one hand over her belly as the train lurches through tunnels. When she reaches 53rd, the platform feels too quiet. She spots the locker, number 17, near the vending machine. Her hands shake as she turns the dial. Inside, wrapped in a white envelope, sits a small black USB. She exhales, relief flooding her. Then she sees him. Noah. Standing by the stairs, phone in hand, watching. Her breath catches. He walks toward her slowly, smile too calm. You shouldn't have done that, Em. How did you? You think I don't know you? You can't hide. He reaches for her arm. She jerks back, clutching the envelope. Don't touch me. Give it to me, he says softly. You don't understand the damage you'll cause. Investors, partners. You pushed your pregnant wife into a minefield, she spits. That's the damage. Something flickers behind his eyes, panic, anger, maybe both. He lunges forward. Suddenly a voice echoes down the corridor. Step back, Mr. Whitmore. Aiden, standing near the exit, calm, composed, flanked by two plainclothes security agents. Noah freezes. You again. Me again, Aiden replies. Emily, come here. Emily slips past Noah, heart pounding, clutching the USB like oxygen. Aiden shields her with his arm as they move toward the stairs. Noah's voice follows, sharp and venomous. You think this changes anything? You'll destroy yourself with it. Emily turns once, trembling but defiant. No, Noah, you already did. Outside, the night air hits cold against her face. She leans against Aiden's car, shaking, breathless. He looks at her, eyes steady. You did it? That's the evidence? She nods. Everything. Then we'll protect it, he says simply, and we'll make sure you and your child are safe. For the first time since Cambodia, she lets herself cry, not from fear but release. Behind them, Noah watches from the shadows, face pale under the streetlight. He smiles faintly, dialing his phone. Because the war has only begun. The night feels heavier than usual. Manhattan's skyline glows cold, the city alive with noise, money, and lies. Inside Aiden Cross's penthouse, the world is quiet. Emily sits on a white leather sofa, hands curled around a glass of water she hasn't touched. The black USB drive lies on the table between them like a ticking bomb. Aiden leans against the counter, sleeves rolled up, studying her face. You sure you want to open it now? Emily nods, her voice low. I need to see it. He plugs the drive into his MacBook Pro. The screen flickers, and the file loads. Field visit Cambodia RAW MP4. The image is shaky. Sunlight, dust, voices shouting. Emily feels her heartbeat speed up. Then she sees it, herself, stepping toward the red marker. Noah's hand appears behind her back, fingers flexing. A half-second later, the shove, the sound of her scream cuts through the static. Her hand flies to her mouth. She can't breathe. Aiden pauses the frame, zooms in slowly. Noah's face is visible, half-shadowed but unmistakable. Emily whispers, that's it, that's everything. Aiden exhales. This needs to be copied and stored somewhere safe, multiple places. He opens a secure cloud folder, uploads it, then ejects the drive. Done. Noah can't erase this now. Emily stares at the screen, tears sliding down without sound. He'll try anyway. He will, Aiden admits, but he won't win. Downstairs, through the glass wall, the Hudson glints under city light. Emily steps closer, staring at her reflection in the glass. The woman looking back isn't the trembling wife from the gala. She's someone new, still afraid, but sharper, steadier. I don't know how to fight him, she says. You already are, Aiden replies. You survived. She turns toward him. Surviving isn't enough. There's silence for a moment, broken only by the hum of the city. Aiden takes a slow breath. Then we go public, but carefully. There's a journalist I trust. No tabloids, no noise, real facts. The world needs to see the truth. Emily nods, though her stomach knots. She thinks of her baby, her job, her old life, all things that will vanish once the story breaks. Her phone buzzes. Noah Whitmore, one missed call. Then a text. You can't win, Emily. Think of our child. She stares at the message until her vision blurs. He's not even threatening me anymore. He's just reminding me who he thinks I am. Aiden says quietly, let him think that. The quieter you move, the harder you hit. At that same moment, across the city, Noah sits in his office at Whitmore Holdings, the blinds drawn. Sloane stands opposite him, trembling. I swear I deleted the files, she says. Noah leans back, expression calm but cold. Then how did my wife get them? Sloane's voice cracks. I don't know. He slams his hand on the desk. You're lying. Tears well in her eyes. I didn't mean to. He cuts her off with a raised hand. Get out. You're finished here. She flees, shaking. Noah stares at the skyline, breathing hard. Then he makes a call. Find out where she is, I don't care how, and make sure she remembers who built her life. Back at the penthouse, Emily sits on the balcony, a blanket around her shoulders. The city hums below, a restless heart that never stops beating. Aiden joins her, 2 mugs of coffee steaming in the night air. Tomorrow, he says, we'll send the evidence to the journalist. After that, lawyers, the foundation, the police. Emily nods, but her eyes are on the horizon. When it's over, I don't want revenge, I just want peace. He smiles faintly. Peace takes courage too. She looks down at the glowing phone in her hand, Noah's last message still open. Then she deletes it, one clean swipe. Somewhere in the city, sirens echo. Emily closes her eyes, the sound strangely comforting. Because for the first time, she's not the one running anymore. He is. The next morning begins with sirens far away, echoing through the Manhattan haze. Emily Carter wakes on Aiden's sofa, wrapped in a wool blanket, the city already pulsing outside the glass walls. The baby shifts inside her, a soft, rhythmic reminder that time is running out. Aiden stands by the kitchen counter, phone pressed to his ear, voice steady. Yes, encrypt the footage again. No external access, only me and the journalist. He hangs up and meets Emily's eyes. Everything's backed up, you can breathe now. She forces a small smile. Breathing feels like work lately. You've been holding it too long, he replies. She looks away, out toward the skyline. The streets below glimmer with rain. A silver Mercedes moves through traffic, turning up Park Avenue. She knows the license plate by heart, Noah. Her pulse spikes. Aiden's expression hardens. He knows where you are? He always knows, she whispers. Seconds later, the doorbell chimes. Sharp, twice. Aiden steps closer to the door but doesn't open it. Stay back. A familiar voice calls through the intercom, smooth, rehearsed. Em, it's me, we need to talk, please. She shakes her head, tears already stinging. He won't stop. The voice continues, quieter now. I'm sorry, I never meant for things to get that far. We can fix this, for our family. Family. The word feels poisonous. Aiden glances at her. You decide. Emily presses the intercom button, voice trembling but firm. Go home, Noah. Emily, please. Go. Silence. Then the sound of retreating footsteps. She exhales shakily. He doesn't give up. No, Aiden says, but neither do you. 2 hours later, they meet with the journalist, a woman named Ava Kim, in a quiet cafe near Central Park. The place smells of coffee and rain. Ava slides into the booth, notepad ready. I've seen the footage, she says softly. I believe you, but releasing it will get ugly. He'll sue, smear, maybe threaten. You need to be prepared. Emily's voice is barely above a whisper. I've already lived through the worst thing he could do. Ava nods. Then let's tell the truth. They outline timelines, confirm file hashes, verify metadata. It's meticulous, clinical. But beneath the details, Emily feels a strange calm. Every sentence she speaks cuts one more thread that Noah used to tie her down. When the meeting ends, Ava places her card on the table. The story goes live next week. Anonymous sources for now, until you're ready to attach your name. Emily looks at the card, the bold print of the New York Sentinel, and feels something she hasn't in months: control. That evening, she walks alone through Central Park. The city glows against the fading sky, and the trees rustle in the wind. Children laugh near the carousel. Life goes on, untouched. Her phone buzzes again. Unknown number. She hesitates, then answers. A deep voice. Mrs. Whitmore, this is Detective Vargas, NYPD. We received a report from your husband claiming you're unstable, possibly endangering your pregnancy. He requested a welfare check. Emily stops walking, heart pounding. He did what? Ma'am, if we could just... She hangs up, trembling. Noah's next move is clear. Destroy her credibility before the truth spreads. Back at the penthouse, Aiden listens without surprise. He's building a defense, trying to make you look delusional. Emily's hands shake. He's good at that. Then we get ahead of it, Aiden says. Tomorrow we'll film your statement, calm, factual, no emotion he can twist, just the truth. She nods, though her chest feels tight. I can do that. He studies her a moment longer. You're strong, Emily. You don't see it yet, but you are. She gives a faint, broken laugh. Strong people don't wake up shaking. Strong people still wake up, he says quietly. For a moment, they stand in silence, two survivors orbiting the same pain. Emily looks toward the window, where the city lights shimmer like scattered stars. Somewhere out there, Noah's already plotting his next move. But for the first time, she's not afraid of him. Only of what she might become if she stays silent. She doesn't know it yet. But by the time the article goes live, her truth will burn louder than his lies. Rain lashes against the glass when the story finally breaks. Emily wakes to her phone vibrating nonstop, calls, messages, notifications exploding in bright flashes on the nightstand. Her heart pounds as she scrolls. The New York Sentinel, exclusive inside the Minefield scandal. Was it a staged heroic act or attempted murder? Her name is everywhere. A still photo, her face mid-scream, Noah's hand just visible at her back, dominates every feed. Comments flood in, sympathy, outrage, speculation. She feels both exposed and free. The air itself seems different, sharper. Across town, Noah Whitmore's penthouse erupts in chaos. Assistants swarm, phones ring, lawyers shout. He stands before a mirror, trying to knot his tie with steady fingers. "This is slander," he says to no one in particular. "We'll bury them." But beneath the fury, a pulse of fear beats. His eyes dart to his reflection. He looks older overnight. He knows exactly what the footage shows. At his office, the boardroom smells of tension and cologne. One investor mutters, "We can't be associated with this, Noah." Another demands, "Did you touch her?" Noah forces a laugh. "It was chaos. She stumbled. Aiden cross-edited that tape." "Then prove it," the investor says coldly. "He can't." Meanwhile, at a modest rented apartment uptown, Emily sits beside Aiden on the couch, the city humming beyond rain-blurred windows. A laptop screen shows a flood of headlines. Aiden reads quietly. Public sympathy's strong. Half the foundation's donors want a full investigation. Emily hugs her knees. He's not going to disappear quietly. "He'll fight," Aiden says. "But now he's fighting uphill." Her phone buzzes again. Unknown number. She hesitates, then answers. A low male voice, calm but oily. "Mrs. Whitmore, this is Thomas Lane, counsel for your husband. We'd like to arrange a private settlement before things get uglier." "I don't want his money." "Think carefully," the lawyer says. "Public attention fades fast, but reputational damage lasts forever for both of you." Emily glances at Aiden, his expression unreadable. "Tell Noah," she says. "My reputation is the only thing he couldn't buy." She hangs up. For a long moment, she just breathes. Aiden finally says, "You handled that perfectly." She shakes her head. "I'm shaking?" "Then shake," he replies softly. "Just don't back down." By evening, the story hits national TV. A news anchor reads excerpts from Emily's written statement, measured, factual, brave. They show aerial footage of the Cambodian minefield and discuss international safety violations. The segment ends with a clip of Aiden, briefly filmed outside his office, saying only, "Truth is slow, but it doesn't break." The internet calls him the billionaire who stepped into hell. Emily watches the coverage, silent. She doesn't crave praise, she just feels the weight lifting inch by inch. Then her phone lights again, this time with a video message. The sender, Sloane Pierce. Emily presses play. Sloane appears pale, eyes rimmed red. "He's coming after me too," she says in a rush. "No one knows I gave you the file. I'm leaving the city tonight. But there's one more thing. Check the foundation account statements. He's been laundering money through charity fronts. If you show that, he's done." The video ends abruptly. Aiden leans forward. She's terrified. "But that's leverage. We can hand this to the authorities." Emily nods, voice shaking. "I just want it to stop." "It will," he promises, "but not yet." Across Manhattan, Noah sits alone in his car parked near the Hudson. The rain has stopped, but the windshield still beads with water. He watches the screen of his iPhone as news commentators dissect his fall. For the first time, there are no calls to answer, no allies left to spin. He mutters to himself, "She can't win." But in the reflection on the glass, his own eyes look unsure. That night, Emily stands by the apartment window, the city below pulsing like a living thing. She whispers to her unborn child, "We're safe. I promise." Behind her, Aiden shuts his laptop. "Tomorrow," he says, "we start building your new life." Emily nods, wiping tears from her cheeks. Because tomorrow, the world will know everything, and Noah will finally face the woman he tried to silence. Morning breaks over New York like a promise wrapped in glass. Emily Carter stands in front of the mirror inside a quiet hotel suite overlooking Central Park. She hasn't worn makeup in months, but today she brushes foundation across her cheeks with a steady hand. Her reflection looks older, harder, but alive. On the bed behind her lies a navy dress, simple, elegant, chosen by Aiden's assistant for the upcoming press conference. The statement she's about to give will decide everything. It's not just about Noah anymore, it's about truth, survival, and reclaiming her own story. A knock at the door. Aiden steps in, holding 2 paper cups of coffee. "Black, no sugar," he says. Emily smiles faintly. "You remember." "I remember everything that matters." She takes the cup, inhaling the scent. "I never thought the world would know my name like this." Aiden studies her quietly. "You didn't ask for attention, you asked for justice. They're not the same." She nods. "But sometimes one brings the other." He gestures toward a garment bag hanging by the window. "There's something for you inside." Emily unzips it, revealing a soft wool coat and cream, clean lines, no labels visible. Inside the pocket rests a folded note in Aiden's handwriting. Walk in like you survived the fire. Because you did. Her throat tightens. She blinks the tears away, whispering, "Thank you." An hour later, they arrive at the Plaza Hotel. Reporters crowd the front steps, cameras flashing like lightning. Aiden exits first, calm, composed, guiding Emily through the chaos. The hotel lobby glows golden marble, the world of her old life. But this time, she isn't playing anyone's prop. A PR representative ushers them into a small conference room. Microphones line the table, red lights blinking. A few journalists glance up as she enters, whispers rippling. Emily takes her seat, places her notes down, then exhales once before looking straight into the cameras. "Good morning," she begins. Her voice trembles but doesn't break. "I'm not here to sell a story. I'm here to reclaim one." The room stills. She speaks of the trip, the shove, the silence, and the fear. She describes how control can look like kindness, how love can hide cruelty. She doesn't cry. She doesn't raise her voice. Her calm is louder than any scream. When she finishes, a reporter asks, "What do you want now, Mrs. Whitmore?" Emily answers, "Peace. For me, my child, and the people who risked their lives that day. I can't change what happened, but I can stop it from happening again." Cameras click. Somewhere outside, the world shifts. Across the city, Noah watches the live broadcast from his office. His face is pale, jaw clenched. Each word she says drives another crack through his carefully built empire. His assistant knocks softly. "Sir, the district attorney's office left a message." He doesn't answer. His hand grips the edge of the desk until his knuckles turn white. Later that night, Emily and Aiden sit in a quiet booth at the River Cafe, the Brooklyn skyline shimmering across the water. The city looks softer from this side. "You were perfect," Aiden says, stirring his coffee. "I was terrified." "That's how courage feels." She laughs softly, the sound small but real. "You make it sound easy." "It's never easy," he says. "That's why it matters." They sit in comfortable silence for a while, watching ferries move like ghosts under the bridge. Emily touches her belly, feeling a faint kick. "She's strong," she says. "She takes after her mother." Their eyes meet. No grand declarations, just quiet understanding. The night around them hums with life. Emily looks toward the skyline, thinking of the woman who once stood shaking on a red-marked field halfway across the world. And she realizes she's no longer the victim in the story. She's the author. The day of reckoning arrives, dressed in diamonds and deceit. The annual Whitmore Foundation Gala fills the Ritz-Carlton ballroom with chandeliers, champagne, and people who measure worth in headlines. Tonight, Noah plans his redemption, his last desperate performance. Emily Carter hasn't been invited. But she's coming anyway. Behind the hotel in a black SUV, she waits with Aiden and her attorney, Ava Kim. The car hums softly. Rain dots the windshield like Morse code. Aiden checks his watch. "You still have time to change your mind." Emily exhales, voice steady. "I already did. Months ago." Ava passes her a slim folder. "Everything you need's in there. The USB, the forensic report, and the charity fraud statement Sloan sent. Once you hand this to the DA rep, it's over." Emily nods. Her hand trembles, but her eyes are clear. It won't be over until he knows he lost. Inside, Noah works the crowd. He smiles too wide, his charm stretched thin under the weight of scandal. Every handshake feels colder than the last. The board members avoid eye contact. The whispers have grown teeth. Sloan Pierce appears near the bar, dressed in black. She looks like someone attending her own funeral. Noah leans in close. "You shouldn't be here." She smirks faintly. "Neither should you." The band begins to play. The MC announces, "Please welcome our founder, Mr. Noah Whitmore, to the stage." Applause ripples, polite, mechanical. Noah takes the mic, smile perfectly rehearsed. "Tonight we celebrate resilience, compassion, and truth." The irony hangs heavy. At the back of the ballroom, Emily steps through the doors. Conversations falter, heads turn. She looks radiant, not glamorous but real. Cream coat, soft waves of hair, one hand resting protectively on her belly. The air changes around her, like a current shifting direction. Noah freezes mid-sentence. The microphone crackles. "Emily." She walks forward, slow, deliberate. Aiden follows at a distance, silent support. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Cameras lift. Emily stops near the stage, her voice carrying across the marble floor. "You forgot to thank the people who almost died for your brand, Noah." The room stills. He forces a chuckle. "This isn't the time." "It's exactly the time," she interrupts. You built this empire on lies. You used charity to launder money and almost killed your wife to protect it. A murmur spreads through the crowd. The DA's investigator, seated near the front, discreetly presses record on his phone. Noah's mask cracks. You're hysterical. Emily holds up the folder. This says otherwise. The footage, the financials, everything. She hands it to Ava, who crosses to the investigator. Flashes burst as photographers realize what's happening. Noah's composure finally shatters. You think anyone will believe you? You're nothing without me. Emily steps closer, her voice calm and cold. I was nothing because of you. For a heartbeat, silence reigns. Then applause begins, small, hesitant, then swelling. It's not for drama, it's for courage. Sloane turns away, tears in her eyes. Aiden watches quietly, pride flickering across his face. Security approaches the stage. Noah's lawyer hurries forward, whispering frantically. But the DA investigator is already rising, taking the folder, making a call. Noah's face drains of color. You'll regret this, Emily. She shakes her head. I already regret trusting you. That's enough regret for one lifetime. Outside, the rain has stopped. Cameras chase her, questions fly, but Emily keeps walking, Aiden at her side. The city hums with a new kind of electricity. A reporter calls out, Mrs. Whitmore, what happens now? Emily turns, eyes bright but soft. Now, he faces what he earned, and I get to live. They step into the SUV as the lights of the Ritz-Carlton fade behind them. And for the first time, the story isn't about survival. It's about victory. The morning after the gala, New York wakes up to headlines that roar. Every newsstand, every screen, every phone glows with Noah Whitmore's downfall. Real estate tycoon under investigation for fraud and attempted murder. The world has turned. In her quiet apartment near Central Park, Emily Carter sits by the window with a cup of tea. The city hums below, oblivious to the storm that's just ended. Her baby kicks lightly, as if sensing the calm that follows chaos. Aiden knocks gently on the door, holding a brown envelope. The DA's office just sent the statement, he says. Noah's been charged. Emily exhales, the sound half relief, half disbelief. It's really over. Aiden shakes his head softly. No, it's just beginning, but it's your beginning now. He sets the envelope down on the table beside a small vase of lilies. I have a driver waiting if you want to see him. Emily looks up startled. See who? Noah. He requested a meeting. County jail, visitation only. You don't have to go. She stares out the window, lost in thought. No, she says finally. I do. The correctional facility sits an hour outside the city, gray and silent under a washed-out sky. Inside, fluorescent lights buzz above concrete floors. Emily sits in the visitor's room, her hands folded. The glass partition reflects her face, tired but unbroken. Noah enters, escorted by 2 guards. The crisp suits are gone, his hair is unkempt, his eyes hollow. He sits, picking up the phone on his side of the glass. She lifts hers. You look good, he says, voice rough. You don't, she answers. He chuckles bitterly. You really did it? You destroyed everything. I didn't destroy it, she says quietly. You did. He leans forward, anger flashing. You think anyone will remember your version a year from now? They'll move on. I'll rebuild. She tilts her head. Rebuild what? The house you burned down? The lies you built on people's pain? His mouth tightens. You always liked playing the victim. Emily's eyes harden. And you always liked creating them. He looks away, jaw clenching. You were nothing before me. She smiles sadly. You're wrong. I was someone before you. And now, I'm her again. The guard signals time's up. She places the phone down gently, stands, and looks at him one last time. Goodbye, Noah. He doesn't answer. As she walks out, a wave of light from the afternoon sun breaks through the barred windows, painting the hallway gold. It feels like a benediction. Weeks later, Emily sits in a hospital room filled with soft beeping and sunlight. Her labor was long, but peaceful. A nurse places the baby in her arms, a daughter with dark eyes and a fierce, perfect cry. Tears spill down Emily's cheeks as she whispers, You're safe, you're free, you're loved. Outside the window, spring blooms along Central Park. Aiden enters quietly, carrying a small bouquet. He pauses, watching her with the baby. You did it, he says softly. Emily looks up, smiling. We did. He sits beside her bed, careful not to disturb the newborn. I thought I was saving you that day, he admits, but you saved yourself. I just followed. She laughs softly, brushing a tear from her cheek. Then keep following, for a while. He grins. Gladly. Months later, Emily stands in her small home office, typing the final line of her memoir. Sometimes the person who walks through the minefield isn't the hero, it's the one who refuses to stay silent afterward. She closes her laptop and looks out the window. The world outside is bright, alive, hers again. The baby coos from her crib, sunlight spilling across the floor. Emily lifts her gently, whispering, "We're okay now." Because in the end, she didn't just survive the minefield, she built a life beyond it. The months that follow feel like waking from a long, dark dream. Emily Carter's days are simple now. Morning walks with her daughter through Central Park, coffee in paper cups from the corner cafe, quiet evenings filled with lullabies instead of shouting. The silence that once frightened her now feels like peace. Her memoir, Minefield, a story of survival, becomes a quiet success. Critics call it raw and redemptive. People stop her on the street, not for gossip, but for gratitude. Women tell her their own stories, some whispered, some shouted, about breaking free, about choosing themselves. Emily listens to each one, eyes full of empathy. But not all wounds fade neatly. Some nights she still wakes sweating, heart racing, the echo of dirt shifting beneath her shoes. When that happens, she sits by the crib, watching her daughter's small chest rise and fall until her breathing steadies again. Aiden checks in often. He doesn't push. He doesn't hover. He simply shows up, with groceries, with gentle humor, with the kind of quiet respect that feels safer than any promise. One evening he finds her sitting on the balcony, a blanket around her shoulders. The city glows beneath them, skyscrapers flickering like watchful stars. "You okay?" he asks. She nods. "Mostly." He sits beside her, close but not too close. "You don't have to be fine all the time." She smiles faintly. Old habit. They fall into silence, comfortable and easy. Aiden takes a slow breath. "You ever think about going back to nursing?" "I do," she says softly. "But this time, not because I need to work, because I want to help again." He nods. "You'd be incredible." She looks at him, eyes thoughtful. "You never told me why you went into tech when you clearly hate meetings." Aiden laughs quietly. "Because when I was broke, it was the only thing that made sense. And when I wasn't broke anymore, I realized it wasn't what I wanted at all." "So what do you want now?" He glances at her, voice lower. "Peace. Maybe someone to share it with." Her cheeks warm, but she doesn't look away. Peace sounds nice. Weeks later, Emily returns to work part-time at the NICU. The first day back smells of antiseptic and fresh hope. Tiny lives wrapped in blankets, machines humming softly, a rhythm she's missed. A nurse greets her at the station. "Dr. Carter? Sorry, Mrs. Carter?" "Just Emily," she says with a smile. The babies remind her why she fought so hard, to make the world less cruel, even in small ways. At lunch, she opens her locker and finds a single envelope resting inside. No name, just a neat fold. Inside, a short note, "Thank you for walking back into the light, AC." She laughs softly. Aiden's handwriting. Always simple, always steady. That evening, she meets him at a bookstore on the Upper West Side. Her book sits in the window display, spine shining under soft light. They browse the aisles, shoulders brushing occasionally. "Feels strange seeing your life on a shelf," he teases. "It's not my life anymore," she says. "It's just a story I told." They stop by the coffee counter. He orders 2 cappuccinos. She stirs hers absent-mindedly, then says, "Do you ever think about the minefield?" He looks at her gently. "Every time I take a step towards something that scares me." She meets his eyes. "And this? Does this scare you?" He smiles, slow and honest. "Terrifies me." She laughs quietly, and in that laughter, the years of pain soften into something human again. Outside, they walk under the city lights, side by side. No grand gestures, no dramatic music, just 2 survivors learning how to live in peace. At a crosswalk, Emily glances at him and says, "You know, I never thanked you properly." Aiden shakes his head. "You don't owe me thanks." "Maybe not," she says. "But I owe myself a chance to start again." He reaches for her hand, not to lead, not to claim, but simply to hold. She lets him. And as they step forward together, Emily realizes that sometimes the bravest thing isn't surviving the storm, it's trusting the sun when it finally returns. The air tastes like spring. The cherry trees in Central Park are starting to bloom, soft pink petals drifting across the sidewalks like confetti. Emily Carter pushes her daughter's stroller along the path, sunlight flickering through the branches. It's been 6 months since the trial ended, 6 months since Noah was sentenced. Life is finally quiet, almost gentle. Her little girl Lily gurgles happily, clutching a tiny stuffed bear. Emily smiles down at her, marveling at the simple joy of normal mornings. For years she thought peace was a myth. Now it's the sound of her baby laughing and the smell of coffee from a nearby cart. "Good morning, Mrs. Carter," calls the vendor. "Just Emily," she answers with a laugh, handing him a few dollars. The routine feels grounding, sacred. But beneath the peace, there's still something unsettled. A space where fear once lived, now filled with cautious hope. That afternoon, Emily visits the courthouse to finalize one last piece of paperwork. The legal clerk slides documents across the desk. "You're officially Emily Carter again," he says kindly. She runs her fingers over her maiden name, printed in clean black ink. "Thank you." When she steps outside, Aiden is waiting by his car, leaning casually against the door, sunglasses reflecting the city skyline. "How does it feel?" "Like breathing for the first time," she says, sliding into the passenger seat. He smiles. "Where to?" "I figured we could celebrate." "Surprise me." He drives them across the bridge, city shrinking in the rearview mirror. The radio hums softly, Fleetwood Mac, her favorite. They end up in Montauk by sunset. The ocean stretches wide and endless, the horizon dipped in gold. Emily steps onto the sand, shoes in hand, the wind tangling her hair. Lily giggles in Aiden's arms as he lifts her high, the baby squealing with delight. "Careful," Emily calls, laughing. "I've got her," he says, smiling. It hits Emily then, how light she feels, how unafraid. The tide rushes in, swirling foam around her ankles. The last time she stood in open land, the ground beneath her was filled with death. Now it's only the sea. They sit on a blanket watching the sun drop into the water. Lily naps between them, tiny fist curled around Aiden's finger. "I never thought I'd like the quiet," Emily admits. "After everything, silence used to feel like punishment." "And now?" he asks. "Now it feels like forgiveness." Aiden nods, eyes fixed on the horizon. "Forgiveness isn't about them. It's about you not carrying their weight anymore." She studies his face, the light soft against his skin. "You talk like someone who's lost something too," he chuckles lightly. "Maybe I did. Maybe that's why I understood you." She doesn't press him. Some stories don't need to be told to be understood. After a while, she says quietly, "You think it's possible to love again after losing so much?" He looks at her, his gaze steady. "Only if you stop expecting the past to apologize first." She laughs softly. "You and your one-liners." "Old habit," he says. The wind picks up, carrying the scent of salt and freedom. Emily closes her eyes and lets it wash over her. Later, they drive back under a sky full of stars. Lily sleeps peacefully in her car seat. Emily leans her head against the window, watching lights blur past. "Thank you," she murmurs. "For what?" Aiden asks. "For walking beside me, not in front of me." He glances at her, smiling gently. "That's where you belong, in front. I'm just here to make sure the ground stays solid." She looks at him, her eyes warm, full of something new. Trust. Real, steady, terrifying in its honesty. When they reach her apartment, he walks her to the door. Neither wants the night to end. "Tomorrow?" he asks. She nods. "Tomorrow." He waits until she's safely inside before leaving. Emily watches from the window as his car disappears down the street. For the first time, the darkness doesn't scare her. Because the sun isn't something she waits for anymore. It's something she's learned to carry within her. Morning light spills through the kitchen windows, warm and golden. Emily Carter hums softly as she prepares breakfast, tiny pancakes shaped like hearts for Lily, coffee brewing in her French press. The radio plays quietly, news fading into an old Norah Jones song. For once, life feels beautifully ordinary. Lily sits in her high chair, smearing syrup across her cheeks. Emily laughs, snapping a photo on her iPhone. She sends it to Aiden with a simple caption, "Breakfast chaos. Wish you were here." Seconds later, his reply appears, "Give me 15 minutes." She shakes her head, smiling. 15 minutes later, true to his word, Aiden knocks. He looks effortlessly casual, gray sweater, rolled sleeves, hair still damp from the shower. He holds 2 Starbucks cups. "Peace offering," he says. Emily grins. "You're learning." He hands her 1 cup. "Vanilla latte, 2 pumps, oat milk." "Don't say I never pay attention." "Show off," she teases. They sit together, the morning easy and quiet. Lily babbles between them, reaching for Aiden's sleeve. He lets her tug, pretending to be shocked every time she manages to grab his hand. Her laughter fills the room, soft and healing. Emily watches them, her heart swelling and trembling at the same time. She's never seen a man look at a child that way. Like wonder itself is sitting before him. After breakfast, they walk through Central Park, Lily tucked into her stroller. The air smells like spring and damp earth. Aiden pushes the stroller while Emily holds a small bouquet she bought from a street vendor. Lily's first park memory, Aiden says. She'll probably remember pigeons and pretzels. Better than boardrooms and broken promises, Emily replies, half joking, half true. He glances at her, serious now. You don't have to joke about that. It's okay to want something new. She stops walking. That's the thing, Aiden. I do want something new. But every time I start to believe in it, I hear his voice in my head, telling me I'm naive, that good things always cost something. Aiden kneels beside the stroller, adjusting Lily's blanket, his voice calm. Then let's prove him wrong. Let's show her that love doesn't have to hurt to be real. Emily stares at him, tears threatening. She nods slowly. Okay. That evening, they cook dinner together in her apartment. Garlic pasta, simple and comforting. Lily sleeps early, the monitor blinking softly on the counter. The kitchen smells like basil and warmth. Aiden pours wine into 2 glasses, setting one near her hand. To second chances, he says. She hesitates for a beat before clinking her glass. To new beginnings. The moment hangs between them, gentle, electric, fragile. Then her phone buzzes. She almost ignores it, but the preview text freezes her mid-laugh. Unknown number. You think the past stays buried? Her chest tightens. Aiden notices. What is it? She shows him the screen. His smile fades. Blocked number? Yeah, it can't be. She stops, shaking her head. Noah's in prison. He doesn't have access to a phone. Aiden frowns, already pulling out his own phone. I'll call the DA's office first thing in the morning. Emily forces a shaky breath. It's probably nothing. A troll. Someone online. But her stomach twists. Later that night, when Aiden leaves, she double-checks the locks and stares at her sleeping daughter. The fear she thought she'd buried whispers again. She picks up her journal, opens to a blank page, and writes, I will not live scared anymore. The words look small, but they're steady. She turns off the light, curling up beside Lily's crib. Outside, Manhattan hums alive, unstoppable, uncaring. Yet Emily feels a shift inside her, the flicker of strength rebuilding. Because she knows this. Even if the past comes knocking again, this time she won't open the door alone. The message won't leave her mind. It's been 3 days since Emily Carter received the text. Every time her phone buzzes, her chest tightens. She's tried to tell herself it's nothing, some random stranger online, but the words keep replaying. You think the past stays buried? It's a Wednesday morning. The city is still half asleep when she steps into the kitchen. Lily sits in her high chair, babbling at her reflection in a spoon. The sunlight spilling through the window makes everything look safe, almost ordinary. Almost. Emily sets her coffee on the counter, fingers trembling slightly as she opens her laptop. The inbox pings. Another anonymous email slides in. Subject, TikTok. No message. Just a photo attached. She hesitates, then clicks. It's her, standing outside the courthouse 6 months ago, holding Lily, Aiden just behind her. The angle is wrong. It's not from a journalist. It's from someone closer. Someone watching. Her breath catches. No, she whispers. At that moment, her phone rings. Aiden, morning, his voice is calm. You okay? She hesitates. I got another message. Silence on the other end, then the sound of him moving fast. Don't touch anything. I'm on my way. 20 minutes later, he's at her door, wearing a dark jacket, hair damp from rain. He scans the kitchen quickly, his composure razor sharp. Show me. She hands him the phone. He studies the image, jaw tightening. This isn't random. Whoever took this knows where you live. Emily wraps her arms around herself. It can't be Noah. He's in prison, yes, Aiden finishes, but people like him always have friends. She leans against the counter, heart racing. What if they want Lily? His eyes soften. They won't touch you. I'll make sure of it. He dials Ava Kim, their attorney. Within minutes, she's on speaker. I'll contact the DA. Noah's communication privileges are limited, but if he's reached out through intermediaries, we'll know. Emily listens, half-focused, her mind flicking between fear and fury. Why won't this end? She mutters. Because power doesn't like losing, Aiden says quietly. That night, after Lily's asleep, Emily sits by the window. The city glows beneath her like a sea of lights. Aiden stands behind her, arms crossed, gaze fixed on the skyline. You should stay somewhere safer for a while, he says. She shakes her head. I'm not running again. This isn't running, it's protecting your daughter. She turns to face him. And what happens next time? What if there's always a next time? I won't teach her to live afraid. He exhales, rubbing his jaw. Then let's make sure whoever's behind this regrets it. Her lips twitch into a faint smile. Now you sound like me. The following day they visit the precinct. Detective Vargas greets them in a cramped office smelling of coffee and old paper. He listens, expression serious, as Emily shows the emails and the photo. We'll run the metadata, he says. See where it came from, but if this is connected to Whitmore, it'll surface soon. Connected or not, Emily says firmly. I want them to know I'm not afraid. Vargas nods. You're tougher than half the people I meet in this job. When they leave the station, rain starts to fall. Thin, steady, relentless. Aiden opens an umbrella and holds it over both of them. You handled that like a pro. I've had practice, she says softly. That evening, Emily posts a photo on social media, a close-up of her hand holding Lily's tiny fingers, captioned, "We don't run from shadows anymore." Within minutes, the post floods with support. Friends, strangers, mothers, all sending messages of strength. She scrolls through them, heart swelling. Somewhere out there someone may still be watching, but this time she's not hiding. Aiden texts, "The DA confirmed Noah's contact privileges are revoked. Whoever's doing this is bluffing." She exhales, shoulders easing. Emily looks down at her daughter sleeping peacefully in her crib. Because maybe the past doesn't stay buried, but neither does the woman who refuses to be afraid of it. 3 days later, the city feels different, sharper, louder, as if every shadow carries a whisper. Emily Carter walks through the lobby of Aiden's corporate headquarters, the baby monitor clipped to her purse. She's dressed in soft gray slacks and a white blouse, hair pulled into a loose knot. She's here not as a victim, but as a woman taking her story back. Aiden meets her in the elevator, his usual calm replaced with something colder, more focused. Vargas traced the emails, he says. They came from an offshore relay, too sophisticated for random harassment. Emily tightens her grip on the railing. Meaning someone paid to send them? Meaning someone wants you scared enough to disappear. The doors slide open to his private floor, sleek glass walls, the Manhattan skyline glittering beyond. His assistant hands over a tablet showing financial records. Aiden points to a highlighted name. Marcus Trent. He was Noah's former legal strategist, handled offshore accounts. When Noah's empire collapsed, Marcus lost everything. We think he's trying to leverage your story, blackmail, maybe intimidation. Emily stares at the screen. He's using my trauma for profit. Aiden's tone softens. That's what parasites do. That afternoon, Ava Kim arrives at Aiden's office. She drops her bag on the table, flipping open her laptop. I filed a motion for a restraining order against Trent, but this doesn't stop him from leaking false stories. We'll need a counterattack. Emily listens quietly, her hands wrapped around a mug of coffee. I don't want revenge. I just want to live without being hunted by ghosts. Ava studies her. Then make the truth louder than their lies. Emily blinks. What do you mean? Go public again. Speak before he does. Control the story, just like you did before. Aiden nods slowly. A live interview. Honest, calm, direct. You don't need to defend yourself. You need to define yourself. For a long moment, Emily says nothing. Then she straightens. If he wants my silence, I'll give him my voice instead. The next day, she walks into the Morning Ledger studio. Lights glare against the glass, producers murmur instructions, microphones click into place. The host, a woman Emily's age, greets her gently. Emily, the world knows you as the woman who survived both a marriage and a minefield, but you've been silent since the threats. Why speak now? Emily takes a breath, her fingers steady on her lap. Because fear feeds on silence. Every time someone tells a woman to be quiet, to hide, to move on, I remember the sound of that explosion in Cambodia. I remember what silence almost cost me. The host leans in. What do you say to the people still trapped in their own silence? Emily's eyes glisten, but her voice doesn't shake. You don't owe anyone your pain, but if you choose to speak, you light a path for someone who hasn't found their way out yet. The studio goes silent. Aiden watches from the control room, hands clasped, pride flickering across his face. Ava stands beside him, whispering, "She's changing the narrative again." That evening, the interview goes viral. Hashtags trend across social media, step by step, Minefield to miracle. Thousands of women share their own stories. Emily's inbox fills with messages of hope, gratitude, and solidarity. But amid the praise, one email stands out. No sender, no subject, just a single line. You should have stayed quiet. Emily reads it once, then deletes it without hesitation. She opens the next message instead. A photo of Lily holding her stuffed bear, taken by Aiden that morning, captioned, "Strong mothers raise strong daughters." Emily smiles. The fear still lingers at the edges of her world, but it no longer defines her. She steps onto the balcony, the city lights stretching endless before her. Because courage isn't the absence of fear, it's walking straight through it, knowing you might shake, but never fall again. The next morning begins with sunlight, sirens, and headlines. Emily Carter's interview has exploded across every major network. She expected attention, but not this much. Her name trends for the second time in less than a year. Strangers send flowers to her building. Talk shows quote her words about courage. For once, the noise feels like validation, not chaos. But beneath the victory, something darker stirs. At 8:17 a.m., a courier arrives at her door holding a plain, white envelope. No sender. Inside is a single printed note. Even heroes bleed. Her fingers tighten around the paper. She feels the old panic rising, the same chill she felt that day in the minefield when the ground itself threatened to vanish beneath her feet. But this time, she closes her eyes, takes one slow breath, and steadies herself. Aiden arrives minutes later. "You're sure the courier didn't say who sent it?" Emily shakes her head. "No name, just this." She slides the note across the counter. He studies it, jaw clenched. "Vargas needs to see this. Whoever's doing this is escalating." Emily nods. "I'll go down to the precinct." Aiden hesitates, searching her face. "You don't have to do this today, you've been through enough." "I have a daughter," she says simply. Enough isn't an option. At the station, Detective Vargas meets them in a windowless office lined with case files. He wears the same tired but determined expression Emily remembers. "This is harassment, plain and simple," he says, reading the note. "But there's good news. The tech team matched the printer's ink pattern to a known device used in Marcus Trent's firm. That gives us a direct tie." Aiden leans forward. "So you can arrest him?" "Not yet. We need one more connection, proof he sent it, not just access to the equipment." Emily's eyes narrow. "So what do we do?" Vargas sighs. "We bait him. Give him a reason to show himself." Aiden looks at Emily. "You mean use her?" Vargas nods grimly. Her interview already pulled him out. One more public appearance might force his hand. Emily sits quietly for a moment, then straightens. "Then I'll do it." "Emily," Aiden starts, but she cuts him off. "He's not going to scare me back into silence. Not again." That evening, the plan takes shape. Emily posts a message on her social media. One final interview tomorrow. This time, for every woman still afraid to speak. Within hours, her post racks up thousands of comments. Aiden paces her apartment, unease simmering beneath his calm. "He'll take the bait," he mutters, "but I don't like the risk." Emily places a hand on his arm. "I used to think courage meant not being afraid. Now I know it means being afraid but stepping forward anyway." He looks at her, the edges of his worry softening into respect. "You've become unstoppable, you know that?" She smiles faintly. "No, just finally awake." The next morning, the television studio hums with quiet energy. Security guards stand at every exit. Vargas and his team monitor from an unmarked van outside, tracing any digital interference that might link back to Trent. Emily sits under the studio lights, calm but fierce. "If my story has taught me anything," she says to the camera, "it's that silence only protects the wrong people. I won't live quietly ever again." Outside, a black sedan idles at the corner of the block. Inside, Marcus Trent watches from behind tinted glass, anger burning behind his polished calm. He pulls out his phone, typing fast. Moments later, Vargas's screen lights up. "We got him," he says. "The message trace matches. He's ours." When Emily leaves the studio, Aiden is waiting with a relieved smile. "It's over," he says softly. She exhales, the tension finally breaking. "Over," she repeats. They walk through the city hand in hand, the air cool and bright around them. For the first time in years, she doesn't glance over her shoulder. Because the world finally sees her, not as a victim, but as the woman who made fear afraid of her. The city feels lighter that morning. News breaks across every outlet. Marcus Trent arrested, attempted extortion linked to Whitmore scandal. Emily Carter stands on her balcony watching Manhattan glitter under the sun. Below, life moves on, cabs honking, kids laughing, the world refusing to pause. She sips her coffee, the first quiet one in weeks, and lets herself smile. Aiden appears behind her, tie loosened, hair wind-tousled from the early meeting. "It's official," he says. Vargas called. Trent confessed. He was paid by a shell company tied to one of Noah's offshore accounts. Everything's sealed. Emily's heart clenches, not from fear this time, but from release. So it's really done. It's done. Aiden confirms, his voice warm, solid. She leans into the railing, looking at the skyline. "It's strange, you know? For so long, I only knew what it felt like to survive. I never planned what came after." Aiden joins her, resting a hand gently on her shoulder. "Then start now. No past, no ghosts, just tomorrow." She nods slowly. Tomorrow. That afternoon, she walks through Central Park with Lily bundled in a stroller, the crisp air filled with the scent of blooming tulips. Reporters occasionally still glance her way, but fewer now. People whisper, "That's her," with admiration instead of pity. A woman approaches, mid-40s, eyes soft. "Are you Emily Carter?" Emily hesitates, then nods. The woman's voice trembles. "Your story saved me. I left my husband 2 weeks ago. I watched your interview, and it gave me courage. Thank you." Emily blinks back tears, squeezing the woman's hand. "You saved yourself. I just lit the match." When the woman walks away, Emily looks at Lily, sleeping peacefully. "We did good, didn't we?" she whispers. That evening, Aiden invites her to a charity gala, small, intimate, hosted by the same foundation that once used her pain as propaganda. "They've changed their leadership," he explains. "They want you to speak, not as a symbol, just as you." Emily hesitates. "The last time I stood on a stage like that, my life fell apart." "Then this time," he says softly, "let it come full circle." The Ritz-Carlton ballroom looks familiar, yet new, less glossy, more human. The theme, rebuilding trust. The crowd rises when she enters, but this time there are no flashing cameras, no pitying glances, only respect. Aiden sits in the front row, Lily asleep in her carrier beside him. When Emily steps to the podium, her hands are steady. "Once I stood in a place just like this, pretending everything was perfect. But the truth is, perfection nearly killed me. It silences women, it hides abuse, it rewards performance over honesty. Tonight, I don't want applause, I want awareness. For every woman who still believes she's trapped, I want her to know she's not alone." The room holds its breath. I used to think courage walking into danger, but sometimes it means walking away from it and not looking back. Applause builds, then swells into thunder. After the event, she steps outside for air. The city is quiet, the streetlights soft against the rain-slick pavement. Aiden joins her, hands in his pockets. "You were incredible," he says. "I was terrified," she admits. "Good," he replies with a grin. "Means you still care." They laugh, and for once there's no weight between them, only space, open and easy. He reaches for her hand. She lets him hold it. "Do you think this is what freedom feels like?" she asks. He looks at her, eyes warm. "No," he says. "Freedom's bigger, but this is the start." Later, at home, Emily lays Lily in her crib. Moonlight spills through the window. She watches her daughter breathe, small chest rising and falling, proof that peace is possible. She whispers, "You'll grow up in a world where fear isn't inherited." Then she sits at her desk, opening her laptop to begin a new chapter, not of pain, but of purpose. Because she finally understands, surviving was never the ending. It was only the beginning of who she was meant to become. The following week unfolds like a dream Emily Carter never thought she'd live to see. Her memoir climbs the bestseller list, the foundation names her as their new Goodwill ambassador, and Lily's laughter fills every corner of their apartment. Peace has finally settled into her bones, but deep down, Emily knows peace isn't the absence of storms. It's the ability to stand when one returns. It comes quietly, like all storms do. A letter arrives, no envelope, just folded paper slipped under her door. The handwriting is elegant, almost feminine. "Forgive me, I didn't know what Noah was planning. I never meant for you to get hurt. S. Sloane Pierce." Emily stares at the note for a long time. Her heart squeezes, a rush of conflicting emotions rising all at once. Anger, curiosity, pity. Sloane, the woman who once filmed her pain, who kept silent while Noah tried to bury her. Aiden finds her standing by the window, the letter in her hand. "What is it?" "Sloane." She wants forgiveness. He studies her expression carefully. Do you? Emily folds the letter slowly. I don't know, but I think I need to hear her. They meet at a small cafe on the Lower East Side, far from the marble towers and staged smiles of their old world. Sloane looks different. No designer dress, no diamond watch. Just jeans, a sweater, and eyes rimmed red from sleeplessness. Thank you for coming, Sloane says, voice fragile. Emily sits opposite her, calm but guarded. Why now? Sloane exhales. Because I couldn't carry it anymore. Noah used me. I thought I was chasing success, but I was just helping him destroy people. You, me, everyone. Emily studies her, searching for sincerity. You helped him lie. You filmed it. I did, Sloane admits, tears welling, and I've hated myself ever since. For a moment, Emily says nothing. Then she leans back, voice steady. You can't undo what you did, but you can decide who you'll be next. Sloane wipes her face, whispering, You're kinder than I deserve. No, Emily says softly. I'm just tired of hate. When she leaves the cafe, the air feels lighter. The weight she's carried, the invisible anchor of resentment, loosens at last. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past, but it frees her from living inside it. Aiden meets her on the street corner, leaning against a lamppost. How was it? Necessary, she says simply. Painful, but necessary. He nods. Closure looks good on you. She smiles faintly. You're biased. Completely. That weekend they drive to the coast, the same beach where Emily once learned how to trust the horizon again. The waves roll steady and calm, like breathing. Lily toddles across the sand, chasing seagulls, squealing every time they fly. Aiden spreads a blanket, watching the child with quiet joy. She's fearless, he says. She didn't get that from me, Emily teases. Maybe she got it because of you. They fall silent, watching Lily build a crooked sandcastle. The sun begins to dip, painting the sky with streaks of coral and gold. Emily closes her eyes, listening to the surf. I used to think survival was about escaping the past, but it's really about accepting it, letting it exist without letting it own you. Aiden looks at her with something deeper than admiration. You're not just surviving anymore, Emily. You're teaching the rest of us how to live. She smiles, tears pricking her eyes. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. As dusk falls, Lily climbs into her mother's lap, head heavy against her shoulder. The sound of the ocean hums steady around them. Emily whispers, You know, for the first time in my life, I'm not afraid of tomorrow. Aiden slides his arm gently around her. Good, he murmurs, because tomorrow's waiting for you. She looks out at the endless horizon, the sky fading into stars. Because for Emily Carter, the storm is over, and the woman who once walked through fire now walks on her own light. It's a Sunday morning painted in soft gold. The city feels slow, almost gentle, like the world itself is catching its breath. Emily Carter sits by the window, a notebook open on her lap. Lily plays on the rug nearby, stacking wooden blocks and humming tunelessly. For months, Emily has been writing pieces of herself into pages, fragments of thoughts, lessons, gratitude. But today's entry feels different. Today, she's writing the last chapter of the story that once defined her. She writes carefully. Forgiveness isn't weakness, it's refusing to let pain dictate the rest of your story. A knock at the door interrupts her rhythm. She wipes her hands on her jeans and opens it to find Detective Vargas standing there, hat in hand, expression serious. Morning, Detective, she says cautiously. You don't usually visit without calling. He nods. I know. I wish it were a social call. Her stomach tightens. What's happened? It's about Noah Whitmore. The name feels like a shadow crossing the sun. She swallows hard. What about him? Vargas hesitates. He was found unresponsive in his cell last night. They think it was a heart attack. For a long moment, Emily can't breathe. The world narrows to the sound of Lily giggling softly behind her. Is he? Vargas nods once. Gone. She grips the doorframe. Relief and sorrow twist together in her chest, two ghosts she can't separate. I thought I'd feel free, she whispers. I just feel empty. That's normal, Vargas says gently. Closure isn't always clean. He gives her a small nod, then leaves. Later, Emily sits on the couch, staring at nothing. Aiden arrives minutes after she texts him. He kneels in front of her, worry etched across his face. Talk to me. He's dead, she says softly. Noah. Aiden's eyes flicker with a dozen emotions. Relief, shock, protectiveness. How do you feel? I don't know. Like I lost a ghost I'd been fighting so long I forgot what life without it feels like. He takes her hand. Then maybe this is where you start living for real. She looks up at him. I thought I already was. You were rebuilding, he says. Now you get to build. That afternoon, Emily walks alone through Riverside Park. The air smells like rain and lilac. She stops by a bench overlooking the Hudson, watching sunlight dance on the water. She thinks of Noah, not the monster he became, but the man he once pretended to be. The one who laughed at midnight, who made promises he never meant to keep. I forgive you, she says quietly to the wind. Not because you deserve it, but because I do. A single tear slides down her cheek, and just like that, the last chain breaks. When she returns home, Lily is asleep on Aiden's chest, tiny fingers curled in his shirt. The sight makes her heart ache in the best way. She sits beside them, brushing hair from Lily's forehead. Aiden whispers, "You okay?" "I think so." It's strange. Grief and freedom feel the same at first. He nods, his thumb tracing small circles on her hand. It's the space left behind when you finally set something down. She leans her head on his shoulder. I used to think surviving meant running from the past. Now I know it means walking through it, then letting it rest. He smiles faintly. You sound like a woman who's finally found her peace. She laughs softly. Maybe peace isn't something you find. Maybe it's something you choose every morning. Outside, the sun dips low over the skyline, the world bathed in amber light. Emily whispers, more to herself than anyone, I choose peace. And as the city hums around her, she closes her eyes, knowing that for the first time in years her story isn't about pain, it's about presence. Because the minefield is long behind her now, and every step forward is proof that love, not fear, writes the final line. 1 year later, the morning sun spills across a quiet bookstore on Fifth Avenue. Outside, New York hums with life. Horns, footsteps, laughter. But inside, there's a hush made of pages and possibility. Emily Carter stands near a display of her latest book, The Light After the Minefield. Her photo on the cover shows her holding Lily, sunlight catching the edge of her smile. Beneath it, a quote reads, "Survival is not the end of the story, it's the beginning of strength." A crowd begins to gather for her book signing, mostly women, some older, some young, a few holding hands with daughters. Aiden hovers nearby, not as her protector now, but as her partner, calm and quietly proud. "Ready?" he asks. Emily takes a deep breath, fingers brushing the pen on the table. "For the first time in my life, yes." As the event begins, people step forward one by one. Each carries a story. A woman with silver hair grips Emily's hand. "My husband made me believe I was nothing for 30 years. Your words helped me leave." A teenage girl whispers, "I used to be scared of speaking up. I'm not anymore." A nurse in scrubs says softly, "You reminded me why I do what I do. To protect, not to judge." Each story adds a layer of meaning, a reminder that pain can ripple outward into healing. When the last fan leaves, Emily sits for a moment in silence, eyes shining. "I used to wonder if any of this mattered," she says quietly. "Now I know it does." Aiden smiles. "You changed lives, Emily, not because you were perfect, but because you were honest." Later that night, they walk hand in hand along the Hudson. The city glows behind them, the skyline like a constellation of second chances. Lily toddles between them, chasing fireflies that flicker in the dusk. Emily glances up at the stars. "You know, I thought happiness would feel louder, but it's quiet, peaceful, like breathing after holding your breath too long." Aiden chuckles. "Maybe that's because it's real." They stop near the railing. The river glimmers like a mirror. Emily lifts Lily into her arms, pointing to the lights across the water. "See that? That's where Mommy learned she could walk again, even after the ground disappeared." Lily nods sleepily, resting her head on her mother's shoulder. Aiden watches, awe in his eyes. "You're incredible, you know that?" Emily smiles. "No, just alive, and that's enough." Days pass, then weeks. The world moves on, but Emily's life finds its rhythm. Mornings at the park, afternoons writing in coffee shops, evenings filled with laughter and home-cooked meals. Sometimes she still dreams of the minefield, the dirt trembling beneath her feet, the echo of that impossible fear. But now, she wakes up and remembers. She made it out. She turned the explosion that should have ended her into a spark that lit everything after. On the anniversary of the Cambodia rescue, the foundation holds a memorial for the victims of landmine accidents. Emily is the keynote speaker. She stands before a crowd of survivors, diplomats, and volunteers. Her voice carries through the hall, steady, warm, powerful. I used to believe trauma defined me, she says. But I learned that survival isn't about what happened to us, it's about what we do next. Every scar is a story. Every breath after pain is proof that we're still becoming. Applause swells, not loud but meaningful. She steps off the stage to find Aiden waiting, Lily clutching his leg. You were perfect, he says. Emily bends, kissing her daughter's hair. No, she whispers, I was present. That night, standing on the balcony of their home, she watches the city lights blink like distant stars. She thinks of everything. The fear, the loss, the love that rebuilt her. She closes her eyes and smiles. Because the woman who once stood frozen in a minefield now walks freely through life. Proof that even from destruction, beauty can rise. So the story has finally come to an end. And if you're still here, listening right now, it means something in Emily's journey touched your heart in a way words can't explain. Maybe it reminded you of your own scars, or maybe it showed you that no wound, no matter how deep, can stop you from finding peace again. You see, life isn't about escaping pain. It's about transforming it. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, the obstacle is the way. Every hardship, every betrayal, every tear, they're not roadblocks, they're teachers. Healing doesn't mean forgetting what hurt you. It means learning to walk again without letting fear lead the way. So my friend, wherever you are right now, take a deep breath. You're still standing, you're still becoming. Just like Emily, you have the power to turn your pain into purpose, your silence into strength. If this story spoke to you, if it lit even the smallest spark of hope inside you, please like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and don't forget to subscribe. Because here, in this little corner of the internet, we keep walking together, one brave step at a time.